We're live.
Ready? All right, let's call the meeting to order.
Okay.
First of all, the agenda was distributed ahead of time. My understanding is that we've informally agreed to have the soil and water presentation first rather than waiting till the end of the agenda. So, you are,
Hello, I am Elena Hansel. I'm the district manager and the watershed planner with Cook County Soil and Water Conservation District.
well,
Steve,
what?
just a quick timeout on the, just the point of order where we want to approve the agenda and the October minutes.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Let's
Sorry.
do that. Is there, with that amendment to the agenda, is there a unanimous agreement to the agenda as modified? All right, and then the minutes were distributed.
Are the minutes okay?
Has everybody had a chance to read them? Has everybody had a chance to read the minutes?
Kay says they're okay.
Anybody want to suggest any differences?
No.
All right, then the record will reflect that we approved them unanimously.
Thank you.
Okay,
Now we can welcome our guest.
why don't you begin speaking?
All right, thank you. I can do that. Thank you for having me here. As I mentioned, I work for the Conservation District, and we have a lot of different roles. I am here tonight because we would like to propose a project. There is a grant open with the Minnesota DNR, and it works with forestry, but it works with forestry that you can do in an urban area, which we're going to call City of Marais urban, and also with adjacent properties and just do some forestry practices. And so this is not my project. I'm speaking on behalf of my staff who is unable to be here. So I will do my best to answer the questions. But what we would like to do is work with landowners along Sweethearts Bluff and heading west. So that property within Sweethearts Bluff and then heading west is really dense with balsam, like so dense that it's not a healthy forest. And it is just not good. It can be a fire hazard, the lack of biodiversity, that's not beneficial for climate resiliency. And so what we'd like to do is work with the city and the part that's the Sweethearts Bluff and over. Again, this is not my project, so I'm doing the best I can here. And do a treatment for spruce budworm in that area. It's got quite a few dead and dying trees in it. And so what that treatment looks like is cutting the trees down that need to be removed. And then they're not going to be removed off-site. That's costly, and it's just not good practice. It's good just to stack them down low as we can or do chipping and do some sort of mulching, but try to put the nutrients back into the soil. So looking at kind of mimicking what a fire would do, except for it's not a fire, thank goodness. But putting those nutrients back in the soil, it's a very low nutrient soil area. And then do some revegetation. So looking at maybe a white pine, a little bit of more white spruce, and other tree species that were not quite clarified at this time. And look at not putting in the forest as dense as it is right now. So adding a little bit of biodiversity, age diversity, and also putting in some climate resilience plants, but also looking at that fire reduction through the spruce budworm management. So what we are asking for is we like to partner with the city and with other groups, and we're looking for a letter of support for this project. It is going to be happening next year if we were awarded the grant, and we would take full project lead, but also work with the park board and whoever Dave would assign to us to work with. And my staff they're actually at a forestry training. Stephen Janis, who will be the lead, that's where he's at today. So they're trained in forestry. They're also able to tap in other experts if there are questions. And there's no match required, so there's no cost for this for you all. It's an opportunity just to come in and do some forest management that hasn't happened because of just, a variety of reasons.
How much do you hope the grant will be?
I did not get that number from my staff yet, and I don't know. So it can be small, it can be large. This is forestry for me is new, and I'm writing the grant, so I will know by Friday because it's due the end of the day Monday for me. So I'll let you know soon, but I'm not sure what the total amount will be. So. And when we write grants, we do include, we include our staff time. Even though we're a government agency, we are 75% grant funded. So we do always include our project time and then admin time to be fiscal agents and manage the grant.
So, do you have an order of magnitude for the size of the grant?
Can you, like the top cap of it? Or what is your question exactly?
A range would do for today?
I honestly, I don't know because my staff, I don't know. We haven't applied for a grant like this. So we have to hire a certified person to be able to come in and do the work. I know just from the 3 trees removed at my house, it was quite expensive. So, this is a large area and I don't know what the costs will be. I don't know if we can get a Conservation Corps crew sometimes can come in and help and that keeps costs down. We will be discussing that in the next day or two.
Will you be getting rid of any of the lumber that's fallen?
Not at this point in time. The plan is to keep that there to let it decompose, to put nutrients in the soil so new vegetation can be established.
Do I infer that you might be using a wood chipper for some of it?
Some of it they may be. It sounds like the treatment's going to really vary depending on the amount of what's there and what's needed. And I'm sorry, I can't answer all of these questions, so I'll do my best. But yeah, it's mulching, chipping, and stacking. I don't think you're going to have everything stacked. So.
Have you said as much as you intend to say for today before we ask you more questions?
Go for it. Yeah.
Are there more questions? Okay.
Go ahead.
The project area, I tried to zoom in on the
Yeah.
map. Does it include the part of the park that the trail goes around? Or is it west of that? I mean the little paved, the accessible
The
trail.
Granite Sand Trail. It looks to me like it's kind of half and half. Like the northern portion of that little trail is included, but the lakeside portion is not.
Okay,
But I think most of the if you look at the box, and I don't know if there's a breakdown of the total acreage, 88.6. That's all the city, but not all city property. Like there's a split there where it's
Right.
private. Like this Harbor Trail development is like half of it, and then our Sweethearts Bluff is the other half.
Yeah. Yep.
Roughly.
I would say that. Yeah.
Yeah, and that the Lake Loop Trail with the granite sand is again maybe half in the box and half out.
okay,
But the
Yeah.
Overlook Trail that goes up on the bluff is all in.
okay. I was curious.
Do you cut all the trees down?
The plan is to cut, it'll look different. The trees will be cut down, it'll be bare, but then going in and planting afterwards. So looking at this as the long-term benefit and a long-term project. So we always try to remind landowners when we come in, it's always like, what happened for the first year or two? And then things start to grow and then you can see that revitalization.
Yeah, if you leave dead budworm on the ground, doesn't it do bad things?
I am not versed in that. I would have to rely on my technician who is not here. It's not my understanding that it does because it's cyclic, so I'm not sure that I'm not sure.
Like the immediate neighbors, including myself, live about 50 feet away from the area that you're gonna cut. And aren't there gonna be just a whole lot of dead budworm sitting there that are gonna cross the street to our house and
I hope not.
set up shop in our spruce?
I hope not. They'll set up shop whether we're there or not, I think. So they're gonna keep looking for food until their cycle is done and then they're not so prevalent for a while. But our hope is to, if everyone is on board, to kind of move west and just slowly start to work with more and more landowners as funding is available and try to get, some more diversity in our forests since we don't have fires coming through.
So cutting them down, does it kill them? Does it kill the budworm?
Sorry, I don't know. I didn't ask these questions before I left. I tried to anticipate them all, but that one I did not. I don't know.
Probably not, but it eliminates the
food
food
source,
source for next season. So
Yeah.
they move across the street to here.
pretty much.
Well, yeah, I mean, they fly around in the early summer and then they crawl
Lay eggs.
first and then they fly.
Yeah.
And like my friend just said a few minutes ago, he doesn't like they fly. Oh, yeah. They do fly.
Yeah.
And they can go right to the neighbor's house, which is right at the top of the picture, which is where we live.
Well, I can say a few things on this because I have been aware of this in this particular Sweethearts Bluff and the fire hazard. We've over the years addressed this or not addressed it, but it's come up. The Forest Service, I think 10 years ago or so, had mapping that showed this as a risky area, and there was didn't work, but it was a thought to go in there and reduce the fuel, reduce the forest. There is, like Elena says, in the not healthy, the budworm has had its toll, almost to the point of moving on. Our staff has been planting white pine saplings from the free, heads from little twigs for years now. We've probably got hundreds of them going out back. There's an urban forestry management plan draft that's being worked on with the tree board and the city council, and part of that is Sweethearts Bluff and the need for some management there. So all this, I think, aligns nicely with topics that have already been discussed. There is the matter of the land trust, the Minnesota Land Trust and the conservation easement. Treat this Sweethearts Bluff area as very special in terms of the sections of non-development, right? They have us in different sections within the trust where we can and can't do things. And for example, the campground is developed and we can trim trees and build roads and that sort of business. But Sweethearts Bluff is kind of, I've always seen as a let it be sort of ethos of, wilderness, and there hasn't been active management back there because of it. That said, we could or should approach the trust and say, what about this? So if we're all on board tonight with the support of this grant, I think for me, or for us, the next step is then an email to the land trust with a similar pitch that here we want to manage this forest a little better, we're going to do this, this, and that. How do you feel about it? Hopefully they can give us the quick enough turnaround, because this is due next Tuesday.
It is, and Tuesday we're off for
Yeah,
Veterans Day.
so
So, I
call
mean,
it Monday.
we'll just keep moving forward. I think even if
Yeah,
anything, we just have to withdraw their application,
yeah,
So when you file your grant application, we probably won't have the land trust's approval
Right.
for it at that point. But you would, I guess our motion tonight would be something like approving your, recommending to the city that they go along with this and send a letter of support if you're okay with that, subject to the approval of the land trust. Is
I
that
think the
comfortable
trust
for
might
you
be
guys?
quick enough, as long as we're, it talks about conservation values in the easement, and like, it talks about fire reduction management and those sorts of things that, invasive species, so that it's gonna be, my intuition is they're gonna be fine with it. And whether or not they need a full board to meet and discuss that, I don't know, but I do have a good contact with the trust. I feel I can get a read like within this week.
okay.
Okay,
Was that a motion?
no, I don't move, I approve motions or call
Okay.
for them. If you'd like to make the motion
Sure.
that I
I'll-
described,
I'll make that motion.
and is there a second?
For the purpose of discussion, second.
Okay, any more discussion?
If you're clear cutting 100 acres of city land, it's a big deal. It's gonna look bad. So you have to do some preparatory.
You're not planning on clear cutting, if I understand it correctly, are you? You're just planning on taking out diseased trees, and where they're too dense, you're gonna leave some trees where they are, right?
That's what it looks like, yeah. Removal of dead and dying fir, there'll be some trees left. It won't be a clear cut. And for the public land, it's only 30 acres, and then the rest will be on private property. And that's assuming that all these private landowners are gonna be fully on board with it. So sometimes when we get grants, as you know, they just show up and then we have to hurry up and move and scoot. And then sometimes it doesn't, not all the pieces fall in place. So we do the best we can. So this is our dream and our hope that this will all fall in place.
I just caught that about the public land, or the private landowners may or may not be on board. Is that, or is there still some that you've met with them individually? I take it?
Stephen's
Or
been working
Stephen?
on that
Yeah.
part, and he's still waiting to hear back from landowners, and so
Okay.
we're just moving forward. This is kind of what we have to do sometimes for projects, and
Sure.
so, and then normally it gives us, because this doesn't, so it'll close, and then it doesn't, we don't hear anything until February. So within that time, it normally gives us enough time to keep talking. I mean, we don't like to operate this way, but this one
Yeah.
just kind of came up this way. And so I know he's been in contact with a few of the landowners. I don't know that all of them are. I haven't looked at all the parcels, and so, yeah.
I think it'd be really expensive to clear cut and
Yes.
stack and chip and manage all this.
Yeah,
Just from it'd be interesting to see what the grant amount is.
Yeah.
And if it's, 100,000, that's just not gonna go very far.
Right.
Cause this is also my understanding that this would be like contracted work,
Yes.
so that our staff wouldn't necessarily be additional time and effort. Mm-hmm. That was part of that's the only way we could do it.
Right. Right. Yep. And that's how we would do it too. We don't have the capacity to.
But you would administer the grant.
We
and do
administer the grant and
paperwork.
provide all project oversight, and then work, on keeping everybody up to date. So.
and just from doing trail development stuff, the public doesn't like walking into a clear-cut area.
Nope.
And they call and ask what's going on. And, some folks may not like all that being taken down.
You're right. I mean, that's just the way it is, but
Unless you discern, the balsam from the birch, from the fir, from the pine, from
So if I understand it correctly, our motion will include approving the description that they've given us here?
No, we didn't change it.
Pardon?
We didn't change the motion.
We could, if we chose to.
Oh, well, I don't need to, but,
Your motion is for a letter of support?
right.
Yeah, which I think is appropriate.
Okay. Well, we've had a motion and a second. Is there more discussion?
Would there be a time to back out?
to say
Like-
we're not comfortable doing this, I mean, you
Yeah.
can do that at any time whenever you get funding or whenever you as you move forward. So, yeah. It's better to know now though, because if I'm gonna spend the time to write a grant, I don't wanna have to go forward and spend all, I mean, I've got 2 grants due by Monday. That's why I'm like, so if we're gonna move forward, I need to be able to, we just need to be able to plan, because if it's just not something that anybody's interested in, then we're not, we've gotta reconfigure how we wanna move forward, so.
So implicit in the motion, if I understand it correctly, is that clear cutting is not part of the plan.
No, that's my understanding too, so, yeah. And I can provide clarification when my staff is available tomorrow, but,
So you can do that before Dave has to write his letter,
yep.
okay? Are you ready to vote?
I always thought the fire would come from the north, but it looks like the risk to my house is from the south.
So you're happy with that then? You're
Just,
happy with the proposal?
just redirect my paranoia to a new direction, that's all.
Well, if I understand it, the project would reduce the need for your paranoia over time, would it not?
And I guess I'm just surprised that when they do that, they don't transport and mitigate the tree somewhere else, they do it on site. And if that's the way they do it, that's the way they do it. But they always tell you not to move diseased wood. you
Right.
know.
So I'm waiting for either approval of the motion or is it time to vote?
I
That's,
think you have to call the question, Mr.
well, I'm
Chairman.
about to. I just wanted to make sure we were ready for it. So the question is called on the motion that Kate made and was seconded by Bob. Are there further discussion? If not, all those raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. There would be nobody left to say no. There are no no's. Okay? So you'll send us a copy of what you write to Dave right away, and he can spread it out to us in case there's anybody wants to comment on it before it gets, too tight in place.
Sorry, you want a copy of the grant that I'm gonna be writing, or what are you asking? Cause
What I'm asking is for when you send the grant proposal in, send a copy to Dave,
yeah,
and he will distribute it to us as he chooses,
Okay.
as we ask.
it will be at the very end of the day on Monday.
No rush.
So it'll be when it's due, just because again, it's,
Okay,
so that's why I was just double checking that.
Do you have a kind of a boilerplate letter of support available?
I always have a boilerplate, yes.
if anybody sees anything in the grant proposal that gives them heartburn, we can address it at the next meeting, because they wouldn't be doing anything until next year.
It'll be in social media as park board clear cuts, public land.
No.
Just give it a
won't
few
say that
minutes here to
because our motion
circulate.
didn't
You
say
shouldn't
clear
say
cut.
that
It
out
said no
loud
clear
because
cutting.
somebody will take a
Somebody will pick
clip
it up and
out
run
of
with
the
it. Yeah.
video and
We're gonna be promoting biodiversity, climate resiliency, fire reduction,
there we
and
go.
we're the longevity of our forests in the city of Marais and along the North Shore for our future generations. That's what you're doing.
So your letter will
Sounds
say
good.
something about clear cutting in the way, right? I mean, it says, we aren't gonna
I
clear cut.
tried.
No. Why wouldn't it say that, if she said that?
I like what she said.
What,
We're not gonna, the clear cut is not the word here.
say again?
We're
Clear
not gonna
cut?
use that word.
No, we don't clear cut.
I see.
We just, that's not our, we don't go in, yeah, we just don't clear cut.
Yeah,
I'm just
Not
feeding,
loggers.
I'm just feeding trolls here.
yeah,
Trolls can pick this
Don't.
up and run with it.
Yeah, there's enough.
all right, we'll work.
Perfect.
We'll
We'll work
get-
together. I am in and out the next 2 days, so we'll stay in touch.
Yeah, thanks, Elena.
All right, thank you.
Yeah,
thank
Thank you for your
you.
time.
Thank you. Appreciate your coming, Lana.
Yeah, thank you.
All right,
That's-
now, back to the rest of the agenda.
It's courageous of her to come to this group like that.
Especially
Is
for-
there a golf report?
No Paul tonight. So a quick update on golf. Paul and I just winterized the clubhouse this morning, right? Got the water out, put the antifreeze in. Obviously, we're done for the season. It was a great year, right? Like conditions were good, play was good, revenue was good. We talked about that last month. Really best ever, almost 200,000, like 197. So close. Paul, be quick to point out 200 with tax, or with, after we had to pay out tax, though, it's like 197, which is great. Last year, we made like 170. So really a big accomplishment, I think, in terms of revenue and just the good vibe at the club. But he's not prepared for his executive summary or these capital purchases, but we're gonna work on that this month and hopefully get that next month.
Yeah, it's great to have his leadership up there.
For sure,
Yeah,
for sure. It's paid off,
it's good.
so.
Okay, apparently we've covered golf as much as we're going to. Next item is the city council report. Craig is not here. Is there anything that you can share with us today from the city?
I cannot,
Is our budget going through without any difficulty?
I don't know.
Pardon?
I actually don't follow that too close, but no, I can't say. Like, their final levy is yet to be set, and that'll be something for, I think, in December, really, when they do it, so. I have no city council news.
Okay, so the next is the parks report. And that was attached to what was mailed to us, at least in part.
Yes, that I can touch on. So, haven't got final numbers yet. We actually switched credit card processors in a couple weeks ago. And so we were in this, like, no person's land of a week of not having a credit card processor online at the end of October. So we weren't able to like run some bigger bills through for October, so I just don't think it's relevant as to like how we did in October versus last year. We did good, is the bottom line. The weather was good. MEA weekend was like really busy. I've heard anecdotally from some shops in town, it was like one of their busiest MEA's Moose Madnesses. And the campground was pretty full because the weather was quite nice. The fall colors have been nice, and so it's been a good month. Last month, October was good. So after everyone left and went to go to winterize things, it was our real chance to look at the water meters, and with no use in the zone, we noticed this very rapidly spinning meter in the bathhouse 3 zone, which is a sure sign of an underground leak. And so we start to go out and listen to the pedestals and do some witching, and yes, it's quite a
Wow.
process to identify these, because they're underground, they're plastic lines, they don't really locate. We don't have an as-built map of where these lines are. We just sort of go to the individual campsites and listen to the hose bibs that are above ground. And I've got the DJ ear that can hear water through the pipes, kind of a white noise. And so this one was pretty loud over here at site 155, so we started digging there, and 3 days later, and about 75 feet to the south, we found it. In the 1-inch main line, big split out the side, big leak. But of course, we're on cobblestone, so nothing percolates, like we didn't have a wet spot. Just one of those, I don't wanna say routine, but this is not uncommon, and it's the kind of things we do in the fall when we have the time and the talent, and it's not like emergency freeze-up conditions where we had to blow out right away. So thanks to the mild October, we found and fixed this leak. I'm pretty happy about it, cause
I
that's.
think I saw them out there working on it just in the
Yeah.
last week or so.
Yeah, it's in that center of the park by bathhouse 3. So, one of those things we do when we have the time, and obviously saves us a lot of money on our utility bill. So yeah, we're closed for as far as the water's out, the bathhouses are locked, they're deep cleaned. Everything's put to bed, except the marina. That's something we'll be working on this week. Putting the docks into a pile, putting the de-icers in. We've got some mooring buoys to get out of the bay and get the pontoon out, get the rolling docks out, get the ADA kayak dock over to the city dock. And so quite a lot of water work left over the next week or two. Hopefully it stays nice. And we are still open for we call rustic camping, just like no water. Tent camping's $10 a night, electric camping's $20 a night. There's a porta potty by the fish cleaning station. We've got guests every night. Some of our contractor KTM, KGM crews that are doing work on the Gunflint and Tofty are staying, like the construction workers, we've got half a dozen of them staying throughout the season, so it's been nice that it's been nice. What else we got? So let's see, so we got the leak. The GMRPTC crew was down here a couple of weeks ago, really had a good show, I think, with like a full house of commissioners on the Wednesday. I did a nice PowerPoint show for the park, really showcasing our pretty pictures and great location. And then the following day, the Parks and Trail Legacy leaders were in this room. Different crowd, so I gave them the same show as the day before, everybody loved it. Mitch Travis was on hand to give his Sawtooth Bluffs story, which is not as successful as ours. And then later on that day, we gave a tour of the park itself to the Parks and Trails commissioners. So great week of showing off our facilities and hopefully helping our funding grant application. So the big paragraph here is, we've heard back from the GMRPTC on the grant for the new bathhouse. I would say we're in this negotiation phase of, they like our application, but the price per square foot of the design and build bathhouse option that LHB presented was too much. Like the $1,000 a square foot is something they noticed right away as too much. They're actually used to funding prefab concrete modular bathhouses. So obviously they get parks throughout the state that are looking at building new bathhouses, and they've kind of developed this standard, or I would say expectation, that the prefab is the best use of these public funds, because it is quite a bit less than a custom build. So they got back to us with that feedback. They said, we like your application, but we can't fund it to this amount. Obviously, there's $20 million of requests and only $11 million to go around. So part of this was, we wanna help you, but we can't, to the extent that you've asked. So we've been back with our design team at LHB, reached out to this Huff Cut prefab. They're out of Wisconsin. They've done numerous projects throughout the regional significant parks. I've talked to the park superintendent down in Lyons County just to get a firsthand account of like, what's this like? Is it durable? Yes. Is it serviceable? Yes. Good ventilation. Like really check the boxes for all the basics you need in a public restroom. But they're really hard to look at when it comes to like a concrete box. Very little window, no roof overhang, right? It's just this, you've probably seen them in like federal or state parks where they're really,
Is it capable of being modified at all, the prefab
no,
structure?
no, they show up on a truck in pieces and you,
My question is, after they put it in, could we put more windows in if we chose to?
no. But what we could do, and what we intend to do, is update our budget using the prefab figures. They do save about, I said 25%, I think that's about $500,000, give or take, on the $1.7 million budget. So I've already had 2 discussions with LHB, get us a price for the prefab installed, because there's 2 components to that. There's the price of the brick house, and it's $750,000. And then there's the price of the site prep, right, the slab, the utilities, all the connections, all the assembly, and that we have at about $350,000. So we're looking at about a $1.1 million bathhouse versus what was about a 1.5. That would be our best route to funding. The GMRPTC would look at that as good stewardships of the public funds. Hopefully, maybe they give us the reduced amount. We still have the 25% match. And if and when we're successfully awarded the $700,000, we could increase our match to get what we want, right? So we're not tied to the design that we submit.
They would be supportive of that?
It's happened in the past.
Oh,
They need to like fund on like best price scenarios of
Sure.
like the best use of this money so that they can fund more parks. And so they, my read is they are not gonna fund us for the custom build 1.5. But maybe, just maybe, the 1.2 or 1.1 prefab, they would fund us, but only like, that smaller proportion of money. And then it's up to us. And us is us. We would look at drawings, we would say, is this gonna be worth it to spend an extra 2 or 3 or 400,000 out of our own capital, which we have, to get the prettier overhangs and windows and natural light and maybe some better functionality, better design in general.
where was the 25% match?
That's included in that budget lines of like what breaks out to what they would fund. It's like 25% less because we're bringing that match money.
So if the project is 1.2 million, it would be 300,000 that we would fund.
Right,
If we chose to spend more, which would be a later decision,
right,
we could do that.
right.
So do you need authorization from us to submit a different proposal from the one we proposed?
No, because we're already moving fast on it. Like they need this
Well, I
ASAP.
understand that, but we're meeting today if you thought that was gonna be useful.
Why not? It wouldn't hurt. If you're comfortable with these ideas. Why not?
So if I understand it correctly, we're looking for a motion that would approve Dave working with the state people on a project that would have, as its funding basis, use prefab construction with the understanding that we may change that ourselves if we choose to later. Is
Yeah.
that something you guys are comfortable with?
Yeah, all we're intending to do is present, or go back into the application and update our budget and reduce it through the use of a prefab modular building.
So that's the motion. I thought that was what I said.
Pretty much.
Okay. So is somebody prepared to make that motion?
And again, just so we're clear, we're not committed to that building.
Right,
We're just playing our cards right to get funded to the maximum amount they're willing to fund.
and as long as they're flexible with our decision to,
They certainly are.
okay. Then I'm comfortable making that motion.
Bob is contemplating.
Second, for purpose of discussion, Dave, don't build something ugly,
Right,
because something ugly is durable and remains ugly.
thank you.
And better to wait and put more into it up front and then not regret your decision, because there are so many ugly concrete slab things in the world.
Thank you, Bob. Because just what I'm thinking, just what our design team is thinking, particularly the location, it's on Lake Superior.
Yeah,
You see it from the boat launch, you see it from the beach, you see it
Yeah.
from the picnic pavilion, right? It's on that prominent southern corner of the park so that it's on display.
yeah,
And it's a showpiece, it's a beautiful, beautiful view, and the corner and everything else about it is why we have such reservation about the prefab blockhouse.
yeah.
But
Should-
again, we can continue to hash this out if and when we get funded. And we'll know by December, we can really say, all right, gang, I'll bring in pictures of both and pros and cons of both, and then we can have that discussion again.
Should be WPA logs and stone. I mean,
Nice.
I spent last night looking through a book of that stuff, and it's hard to go there, but you do get something out of it, you
Yeah.
know? I mean,
Well, the LHB design was nice. It had long overhangs and natural
Yeah.
lighting in the gables, and
yeah,
it's still durable. Not a lot of wood, because that's what we don't want in the moist environment.
yeah.
But yeah, we want it to be, suitable or fitting for the location. But again, we want to get funded to the appropriate amount that this committee is willing to fund.
Yeah,
Are we ready to vote?
This will be known as the brick shithouse resolution.
Only if the minutes reflect that.
We'll review the minutes.
gonna say it.
We'll review the minutes next month. I mean, I value bathrooms as much as anyone, but ugly is ugly. Don't do it, Dave.
Thank you, Bob.
Yeah.
Okay, with the understanding we're not gonna build something ugly, are we prepared to vote?
Yes.
All those in favor say aye, raise your hand.
Aye.
aye.
There being nobody to oppose it, it passes unanimously.
Thank you. And then
Question?
last order, we just,
Question for Dave.
yeah, Bob.
Who is on the Greater Minnesota Regional Parks and Trails Commission? And who is on the Parks and Trails Legacy Commission?
Good question.
Who staffs that kind of a group?
So the GMRPTC commission is like broken up by districts, and it's like park managers, directors of recreation for counties of regionally significant parks. So it's like a statewide, or I should say outstate, as you know that term,
Yeah.
regionally significant park leaders that are just sign up as a 3-year term to be a commissioner. Tim Kennedy used to be one.
So
As an
you could be
example.
one, or it's not like state functionaries of some type.
No, they're like department, park department leaders in outstate regionally significant parks.
But this is a state agency
Yes,
staffed by regular people
coordinator and then an executive director.
who get a per diem or something to.
Yeah,
And then the other group, the Parks and Trails Legacy Commission, that's not like the legacy money at the legislature.
it is in the sense of like the recreation component of that. So, but it's more Met Council, DNR, and regionally significant outstate parks. So it's an all-inclusive group of legacy-funded parks that include both the DNR, because they get like half of it, and then the Met Council parks, the 5 county metro parks, because they get the, like 25%.
So this is from the 2008 resolution that passed the state. So it's that legacy.
Yep,
Okay.
yep. And the parks and trails was, like I said, it was more, not just outstate parks, but it was DNR officials or reps, and then Met Council reps, or Metro.
And that is staffed by appropriate people from those,
From the DNR, I think, oversees
DNR.
that commission, yeah.
and they get a stipend or a per diem and do their thing.
Yeah, it's a little bit redundant. I had the same questions going into the thing, but it was 2 different crowds, except for there were a couple of reps from the GMR PTC on the Parks and Trails Legacy.
Yeah. Because there, I know there's a provision for regional parks in the 2008 legislation. And very specifically regional, and I was wondering where those,
That's that first
Overlap.
group. That's that GMR PTC group.
yeah.
Okay,
Have we done all we need to do on that subject?
I'm looking for a nice tree for Harbor Park. Put out the feelers. Not too big, not too small, very shapely, an evergreen, Christmas. Holiday
You
harbor
mean
tree.
a permanent Christmas tree?
No, just
No.
what we,
Wanted to put up.
yeah.
Okay. Like-
Maybe we were looking Sweetheart's Bluff,
Really?
which we've done in the past, or the old water tower. So, but last year was donated from one of the, like
Somebody
off
in
a city
town.
lot, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a great tree, so, we're definitely putting the word out there, trying to crowdsource something nearby and shapely.
What kind of tree?
Spruce, balsam,
Yeah.
evergreen.
Evergreen looking tree,
Christmassy.
All right, that's it.
okay.
Okay. Is there anything else besides the rates question? Okay, let's do the old business 2026 recreation area rates.
So we got 28 minutes. Don't feel like you have to decide everything in the next 27 minutes. We are under the time of having to adjourn by 6. I feel like there might be more here than a half hour's worth of discussion, because we're talking about seasonal RV rates, and then we're talking about these new idea rates. And whatever you prefer, really, none of this has to be decided tonight.
Are you inclined to take time to read this over and to pick it up next month?
I'd be fine with that.
Pardon?
I'd be fine with that.
Bob?
Yeah, we should probably have a large group,
We should probably went.
have a large group with everybody here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and a chance to read the thing in some detail, okay? So we will put this under old business for our next meeting, at which we can expect to decide it.
Yeah, and if you want it, we do have time, if you have any questions or new ideas, or we can just,
I haven't had a chance to read it very much, so I
Sure.
think maybe we should, if I have questions, I can send them to you in the meantime, and I'll,
well,
if you
here's
give me
something
the
for you,
emails of these
Steve.
people, I'll send them at the same time.
I mean, I honestly have a question for you, Steve, in terms of like further analysis of the seasonal rate is something I heard last meeting, right? If we remember back to last
Right.
month.
That's right.
You know, we had the same idea of like, oh, time, Craig had to leave. So we only increased the nightly rate because we're taking reservations on those rates right now for May. We've got like a couple of them, so it's, again, that wasn't that big a deal, but the nightly rate has been increased 3%. The seasonal rate, what else can I provide for you to help you decide? I think I just sort of sent out what I sent out last month on what 3% looks like, what 5% looks like. We generally always go with what we do for nightly with the seasonals, just for the sake of parity and simplicity. So if you're thinking of other adjustments, like, let me know.
Yeah, okay. We'll read it and see where we are.
Yeah, we don't have like a comparable park for these kind of rates. Unlike nightly rates where we can look to Burlington Bay or the state parks, they don't offer seasonals.
Oh,
No public park offers seasonals. It's a private park model, and generally the seasonal buys the lot as real estate, and they get a deed to it, right? And then they pay association fees for the lawn mowing and the garbage collection, and they get metered for electric. You know, it's
Yeah.
like a whole different model.
Where is that? Where does that occur?
Arizona,
Right, the deep south.
yeah,
Or the chain of lakes, actually, Brainerd, Bemidji.
oh,
Or anywhere that's pretty, that people wanna retire to and buy an RV
that's the
lot
model.
and keep an RV there.
Travelers Country Club on the Mississippi has that model.
Yeah,
We had a trailer there for several years.
yeah. And did you buy
And a
the
golf
lot?
course.
And it was like a real estate transaction,
Yeah.
right? You bought the
Yeah,
lot?
we had a long-term lease.
Yeah. And so I can't find comparables to even put these up against. But I do hear or know of like seasonals in the Brainerd Lakes area that are way less. Like maybe there's a few private parks that don't sell you the lot, but they sell you the season, and it's, you know, $2,500. I could try to pull some of those figures.
Is the implication of your comments that we want to be careful not to get too high, or just to note that we're different?
Both.
Okay,
Both. There's definitely seasonals watching this very close. They watch our meetings, they follow their rates, they're on fixed incomes. They get excited about rate hikes. In the past, like quite a few years back, that's when we broke up the prime versus standard, right? It used to be all just a flat price for a seasonal site. There was just one price, no matter where it was located or what the view was. And we knew that was a value for the ones with views. So 6, 7, 8 years ago, we took a tour of the park, we looked at this site and that, and this one was way nicer than that one. And so we created this prime rate that's, you know, $600 more.
I suppose one question that's worthy of thinking about is there a prime and a subprime and an average? Might there be a third category?
No. And so much so that the prime is being like phased out. Like
Right.
more context here is that soon we'll only have the standard rate
Because the prime are gonna go nightly.
nightly.
Do I remember you said that we lost 3 of the seasonals this last year?
Of the prime, yeah,
Yeah, and those are the ones that are being converted.
transitioned, yeah, converted.
And do we expect any more this next year, or do we have any reason to?
Yes, particularly given the age of some of the long-term returning seasonals that are in some of these prime sites. There's some that are reaching their limit for being, you know, able to manage it. So there's always that potential of these transitioning. Just like this past season, 2 of them were expected like going into the spring because they didn't renew back in February or January. And then one of them said about July, hey, guess what? We're turning 80 this year. We're going out with our boots on. We're selling out. We're done. We're not coming back next year. And I know of like a handful of the other 28 that are in that same age range.
Okay,
And so there's gonna be transitions every year of like 3 more. And there will be the time where we've got a majority of these are nightly now. And do we reserve them? Do we have special policies around them? You know, I touched on a special rate for them. Sam and I talked about that. We already charge a little more for a pull-through right now on our nightly rate card. A pull-through site is like $4.50 more than a standard site. And we've been charging that pull-through rate on these primes, on these recently converted prime. So we've already tried to cash in on the fact that they're really nice locations with lake views. And maybe a newer or a better idea we can talk about next month is this, like, instead of creating a 7th rate, because our card is already pretty stacked with tent and lakeside tent and electric water sewer and electric water sewer pull through. Do we create electric water sewer prime? Yeah, no. What about electric water sewer pull through or prime? And it's $6 more, or maybe it stays at $4.50 more. But I really feel like we have this opportunity to cash in or take advantage of these really sweet sites with the views on the nightly rate. We already have, because we've been charging with the pull through 12% more than the average. But yeah, when I shared this with Sam and the idea that they're like $10 more, you know, like 63 versus 53, she was kind of like, ooh, that's a lot. They're not front row. We're already charging $4.50 more for them. People were paying that all day. Like, we don't want the rate card to get too big, so let's think about a full hookup, pull through, or prime. We have to kind of call it something cute. The best, or whatever we call it, it's gonna be more.
Yeah, I trust that you people on the front lines can gauge, like,
What are they worth?
what are they worth, what people's reactions are gonna be. I mean, if we were concerned about losing money, or, nobody's showing up, what's going on, then, but we don't have that problem.
No, I
So,
feel like our concern is leaving money on the table by not charging enough.
yeah,
That was the origin of my question when we started this discussion.
For
Are there
seasonal
places
rate.
where we can raise the rates on places where people are willing to pay a higher rate and not have to raise the other rates as much?
Yeah.
right.
So are we comfortable then passing this subject over to next month?
I just have one other, quick thing about the community space, the rental of the little building. $30 for a whole day?
Yeah, that's been, and honestly, Kay, I've been here 20 years, it's been that for as long as I've been here.
I was shocked.
Well,
I had no idea. And then I think, my first reaction is, this should be more, but then I don't know, like, is the sentiment, it's a community space, people are already paying our taxes, we should be able to benefit from this, but even going up to 50 seems like nothing.
for sure, great points, Kay. And that's the reaction too from folks who rent it and ask how much, and we say 30, and they're just kind of like, that's it.
Right.
So I got the rate sheet from the community center, actually, right? Like Sarah was happy to share. I think that it's available online as well. But yeah, so something we can look into next month is sort of what's comparable is like the 4-H building, right?
Right.
And
Right.
that is they've got all kinds of prices because of like if it's a nonprofit fundraising type
sure.
of thing, it's free. If it's a private meeting, parties and social gatherings, which is kind of what we're into, it's $50 for a half day and $75 for a full day. It's kind of what they're, up the hill. Right, the big community center itself, which I don't think we compare to,
Right.
is, it's like $500 for a
Yeah.
wedding for a
Yeah.
county resident, $1,000 for an out-of-county resident. So they
Yeah.
too make that distinction between like a local price and a
Right.
out-of-town price.
Yeah, that'd be kind of good.
And something Sam brought up, which is a good idea, is the pavilion and the rec hall could or should be different prices, because they're really quite
The
different.
pavilion. Oh.
Yes.
Is there a charge for
Yep,
that?
it's the same $30.
Oh,
And again, that's just kind of the open air,
right,
you get picnic tables and a fire pit and some power, but you don't get the kitchen,
the bathroom.
you don't get the bathroom. you don't get the heat.
And they'll have a bathroom nearby after we build 3.
Yeah. But there's probably our chance here is to set up 2 different rates, like a pavilion rate that's 50 a day and a rec hall rate that's 75 or something like that.
I'm curious how much it's used.
I can get those numbers too,
Yeah.
because it's in the books.
Okay.
And it's not that much, believe it or not. Like anecdotally, we looked at this when we were doing sort of the analysis of do we need a new rec hall? Because it really only gets rented like 20 to 30 times a year.
Okay.
And some of that is like a week of the plein air painters set up shop in there in September. Like the plein air fest uses it as like their headquarters. And so there's like 7 days out of the 25. There's some action in the spring for graduation parties, like 2-3 families. And then the fisherman's picnic class reunions. 2-3, Friday,
Yeah.
Saturday, Sunday.
I think it's underused,
Yeah.
seems to me, yeah.
Based upon what you've said so far, it sounds like the 30 for the pavilion might be not too bad, but raising the rate for the closed-in place would be better to be comparable with the community center. And maybe even to follow their pattern of nonprofit groups, being for free. I doubt if it would change that much, would it?
We don't have many nonprofit, like fundraisers down there, no. The Historical Society used to use it for their trout plank dinner, but they've since moved that to North House. But I can run the numbers on how often are they rented
Yeah, I'm just
and
curious.
what's the community center rates, I can share those. And
Great.
It occurs to me that North House, if they rent their facilities out for gatherings, that we might wanna know what they're charging before we decide what to do.
what else
Well-
can I get for you?
We have gotten very close to the end of the agenda. Is there any new business or any old business that people wish to bring up?
I'd like to add something for next month's agenda.
And what is that?
I had gone to Dave and asked that we put in some kind of wording in the reservation such that people coming here would understand that it's a intelligent, low-light campground, with shaded lights and lack of unnecessary flamboyant lights and sort of a reserved space. The local dark sky group asked me to come to Dave with that request, and I did that. And I thought somebody was going to send in wording for that, and that didn't happen. But I should be held responsible for bringing wording that Dave can use when people reserve, that they understand that it is a darkness-sensitive camping area. Much as the town markets itself as a dark place, we should line up along with that, so that when you sign to come here, you're agreeing to be careful about excessive light at night.
Let's make that a sub-paragraph under the Parks report, right?
Parks Report next month,
Yeah.
dark sky reservation
Yeah.
language.
Language.
I talked to Dave, and I was to bring language, but I think the person who had the language had COVID, and it got slowed down, but I don't want to lose that thread
Okay,
until we have it in the expectations for camping here include sort of light savvy behavior.
consider that it's on the agenda.
Great,
I
thank
do
you.
have one question about land use. The city took out a couple of buildings that are close to the shore. Where those buildings we took out.
Oh, at the launch, at the
Yeah,
new
well,
launch,
to the right of it.
the shop and the
As you're
PUC.
looking at the lake to the right of it.
Yep.
Is there any potential possibility of turning any of that land into camping space?
Yeah, I can't say no, but we know there's considerable obstacles to that in the former industrial use of that land has impacted the soils with harmful chemicals that might not be the best to camp on top of and scratch and sniff.
So maybe someday we should seek a grant to replace the dirt.
That was looked at when we were planning the boat launch project, and that would actually release those it's like PCBs and arsenic and the nasties from years of
Yeah.
transformer storage and industrial usage down there. And so there's kind of a phase one study that when they were demoing those facilities, they were able to determine that this is a bad spot for contaminants. And I don't have the details of how bad, but when we shared that with the DNR and the design team for the boat launch, the recommendation was to cap it actually with asphalt to prevent the leaching of those chemicals further down into the water table. And that disturbance of the soil around that site would almost invariably release some of that.
Maybe
and
we can
spread it.
get some federal Superfund money.
Maybe we can let it be. But, yeah, we looked at that when we did the boat launch. We had kind of this extra parking lot to the right that would have capped that soil, but the budget didn't afford that, and the public didn't really go for it either. It was too much parking, too much pavement right on the shore. And so we just sort of let it go natural.
Why
But I
don't
get
we
your point.
Leave the subject matter for you to think about and maybe get some input from people who know this problem better. And see if there's anything that, because if it were possible to do it, if we could get a grant to fix the bad stuff, and if we could rent out the spaces, we would have another source of revenue, is what I was thinking. But it only makes sense if what we have to spend on it is sensible,
What
or if
did
it can
they,
be done.
what did they do with the old Standard Station?
Harbor Park,
Yeah,
not much.
was that capped or?
Made a park. Yeah, put
That's
put
got a bad
grandstand on
history
top of it.
also.
Yeah, they didn't, I don't know honestly, but I don't think they did a soil exchange or whatever would be necessary. I mean, I know when they demoed the power plant that was down there, they dug a really big hole and it kept filling in with like groundwater and it was sheened.
I'm sure.
And they'd pump it out and come back the next week and pump it out and it just kept sheening and they just eventually got to like fill it in. Cause they were running diesel generators and changing the oil right on the ground.
Sure.
Well, it's a subject matter.
Or so I've been told. Cause this is all like way before my time. But I take your point, Steve. I mean, this is a sensitive area. I think our chance to reprogram that was in the master plan. And we let it be. But at the very least, I'd like to mow it and brush it and keep the view.
For the moment, that's fine. You know, if there's some more expertise that would help us turn that into a money-making space, that would be nice, and if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Well, are we ready to adjourn? Yes, it's approaching 6. Yeah, we've done a good job,
6 minutes.
especially since we had hardly anything on the agenda.
What do you mean?
Thank you all.
Adjourned?
Adjourned?